Today's episode of the Chalkboard Podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and a free 30-day trial when you visit audibletrials.com/chalkboard. Hey everyone, welcome to the Chalkboard. We are coming to you from Kansas City, Missouri. My name is Eric Milner, and today we are going to be continuing on with our Movies with Friends series. I got to sit down with my good friend Ida Dancy and talk about Jordan Peele's Get Out. I met Ida back when I was waiting tables, working my way through college. The first conversations that we ever had together were over text, and she was trying to get her shift covered. And she mistook me for someone else and sent me a text message so mean-spirited and vulgar that I can't even say it on the air. After that, though, Ida and I became fast friends. And strangely enough, it's been 7 years, and we're now somewhat related because our cousins married each other. Kansas City can be a real small town. Ida is actually the reason that we're even doing Movies with Friends again. Mike and I were on hiatus planning what's next. We were kind of figuring out what we wanted to do with the chalkboard. And I got a text from her saying she needs the series back so that her and I could talk about the best pictures. Let's be honest, she messed up, because I told her if we were going to be doing this again, then she would have to be a guest. Ida is probably the person I know who has seen the most Academy Award-nominated pictures this year, and I was really excited to sit down and talk with her about Jordan Peele's thriller, Get Out. This is my favorite movie of the year, so I'm really excited to talk with her about it, so let's dive in. All right, so I am here with my longtime friend now, Ida Dancy. Ida, how are you?
I'm awesome. Eric, how are you?
I'm good. We haven't seen each other in quite a while.
Very long time.
Too long.
Yes.
You moved away to Texas with your hubby.
I did. I'm in Austin.
Tell Willie once again I'm sorry that he's not on the podcast.
He's very jealous. He says he has all the hot takes.
There's Movies with Friends 2019. We'll book them.
Okay. I'll be so happy to hear that.
Yeah. What's funny is I was thinking he may still make it on there. We have a couple movies left. So he may make the cut.
No. He has no hot takes. He's fine. He's riding my coattails.
He hosts a podcast.
He does.
What's it about? Fantasy football, right?
It's fantasy football.
God, that's way cooler than this one.
So much cooler.
I'm not being facetious. You are. Don't let Willie. Yeah. I'm not being facetious. All right. So we are going to be talking about Jordan Peele's Get Out, which is my favorite movie of 2018. Or as far as Best Picture noms go, I think it should win.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it was your favorite.
I was saving that. I just dropped it on you right now. So I think it should definitely win. But before we get into Get Out, one of the things I've been doing is just getting everybody's knee-jerk reaction to the other films in the category. Now, you've seen all of them but The Darkest Hour, right?
Correct.
Are you going to see The Darkest Hour?
I will not, no.
No one I know wants to see it. I feel bad. I don't want to see it.
I know, and I feel like I should because it is in the era of Dunkirk, and you can kind of see like leading up to that, but I still have no interest.
What if it was the same universe? It was just the Dunkirk era. Just the shared universe of Darkest Hour and Dunkirk.
Okay, if Nolan did The Darkest Hour, then I would see it, yes.
Well, Commissioner Gordon's in it, right? Gary Oldman.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, so maybe.
He has some actor allegiance.
He does. Michael Caine in every single movie.
Tom Hardy's been in a bunch of things. Christian Bale. Obvi.
Wait, what? Obvi. I thought you were saying someone's name.
Oh, no, Obvi.
Got you.
Obviously.
I'm so cool. I'm very cool. All right, yes, let's dive into it. I'm going to go off the Google list here, but we'll end with Get Out. So, Shape of Water. What were your thoughts?
Shape of Water, I liked a lot. I think I have the same opinion as everyone, that it was just like a beautiful movie. It's so pretty seeing it on big screen, but it was, it wasn't Best Picture nominee to me.
It's not Best Picture nominee. Do you cry at movies?
Oh my gosh, all I do is cry in movies.
Did you cry at Shape of Water?
No, I didn't have that connection. Like, I thought it was, like I said, a beautiful movie, but I never, got that emotional connection to her and her merman.
Her merman.
Fish person, I don't know what the correct term is.
I think it's merman. I think you got it right.
Okay.
All right, let's jump into, so we'll skip Darkest Hour. What were your thoughts on Dunkirk?
Dunkirk loved.
In the same universe as Darkest Hour, obviously, goes without saying.
Right. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat the whole time in the movie theater. And I remember we had snuck beers into the theater, and I had 3 of them, and I had to go to the restroom so bad, but I could not leave my seat.
That's the exact same situation I had at the Star Wars Last Jedi. We had smuggled some beers in, and I was drinking them, and my fiance was really nervous because I was also just like brazenly opening them before, like while the lights were still on. Like I didn't, I just didn't
You weren't
care.
even like waiting for the quiet part.
No, I didn't. No, it was before the movie even started. And there's people walking around. It's like they don't care. No one cares if I'm drinking a beer here. But then after the movie, I just remembered this. I went to go throw all of our beer cans away, and there's this like 14-year-old worker guarding the trash can, and I just go over there.
That's amazing.
And throw away, and he just looks at me like, "Come on, man, my job's hard enough." Like he just looked at me, like he just looked at me so disappointed. But yeah, I did love. I didn't watch Dunkirk that way, but I did love that movie. I want to hear your thoughts on Phantom Thread.
Phantom Thread, Daniel Day-Lewis. Oh my gosh.
His last movie, supposedly.
I thought it was great.
I don't believe in endings.
It was all just like face acting.
Yeah, I agree completely. I don't believe in endings. I don't think Daniel Day-Lewis is done.
Really?
Well, think about it. Like, everything comes back. How many times has Jay-Z retired?
I don't know, 3?
Yeah. I don't listen to anything past the Black Album on principle.
On principle alone.
That's not true.
Daniel Day-Lewis is going to go be a seamstress. Right. He's going to make dresses.
He fell in love with making dresses while making a movie.
I know.
My last guest, Annie, and I were
great.
talking about it, and if there's ever anyone who's been too full of himself, it's the guy who played a seamstress, whichever the proper term is, and then decided to go do that professionally. Like, I'll quit acting.
So he's like a method actor, you know?
Yeah.
Can you imagine how intense the set of There Will Be Blood would be?
I think about that sometimes because he's so crazy in that, and then I think about Gangs of New York as well. If he's playing a villain, I don't want to be anywhere near him. It's terrifying.
No, you know he's got a butterfly knife and he's just walking around set just like scaring people off.
He's just cutting pigs for lunch. Like he's like, who wants bacon? That's a terrible Bill the Butcher accent, but I tried.
Yeah, that was bad.
I apologize to Daniel and Martin Scorsese. Let's jump into really quick my take on Phantom Thread. I've seen it now, so I can talk about it, and I've really wanted to. This to me is the first movie of this group that I've seen where I'm like, this is definitely an Oscar movie. The way it's shot, the score, the acting is unbelievable. The dialogue doesn't feel real, and I mean that in like it feels elevated. Like I never talk the way the people in Phantom Thread talk, even though I host a podcast, so maybe I should work on that. I don't know. Who knows though? But I was really thinking about it, and there's one of the first things Daniel Day-Lewis says. He's talking about just how it doesn't frighten him that the dead watch over the living. I mean, this is a movie about dresses, and this guy's talking about how his dead mother watches over him and how it's not frightening and it's actually comforting. It's just such a movie in another class to me.
Yes, it really is.
Yeah.
I thought Daniel Day-Lewis was incredible, like incredible as he always is. But, and I'm terrible for not remembering her name, but she upstaged him. She was everything. Her face acting, it was amazing.
Yeah, I thought the casting in that movie was absolutely unbelievable. And I didn't really know what it was about when I went into it. And that's my favorite way to go into a movie sometimes. I had a guest in the past that they don't watch any trailers. And I'm really thinking about adopting that model. And just not going into movies other than like hearing that it's good and just going to watch it. Let's jump into 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri.
Oh, you know how I feel about this movie. I give it 2 thumbs down.
Can you, moving forward on the rest of the movies, can you please do the thumb system for all ratings moving forward? I give it 2 thumbs down.
I will throw a couple more, though. 2 thumbs down for 3 Billboards. Oh, man, that was not my movie. No. And I wanted to like it because, going in, it was getting rave reviews. People were loving it. And so I was going in just thinking, I'm about to have an experience, but it fell very short.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan. Frances McDormand is one of my favorite actresses, and I thought I just couldn't really relate to her emotionally in that movie. I couldn't relate to anyone emotionally. I thought it missed every beat on that level. So I'm done with that one. Let's move on to The Post. The old guard, as I call it. You've got all the old Hollywood hitters in it.
Yeah, and you don't forget it for a second. Like, don't you? I never stopped watching all of these big actors.
Yeah, I mean, obviously
Like I knew it with Tom, I knew it with Meryl.
yeah, when Hank's on the screen, that's what you're looking at. And I mean, I think Spielberg's a great director still. I thought it was a great movie. I thought it was also a pretty forgettable movie, if I'm honest. Not to be mean,
Yeah.
but
There's always, I mean, we don't need two of those in our Best Picture noms this year. You know, we've got The Darkest Hour already.
Yeah, we don't
Get lost.
Get out of here. Wait, I gotta be real though. I haven't seen Darkest Hour, so I can't say this definitively. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and say let's get Darkest Hour out of here instead. Let's leave the post in.
Yeah, I guess. But I hear Garrett Oldham lays it down.
Sure, but yeah, I could lay it down too if I was in 300 pounds of prosthetics. Like I don't know, is that really acting? Man, actors are gonna be so mad at me if there's any listeners. Like, this guy doesn't get it. And
if you ever make it big, this is gonna come out.
When I make it big, Ida. When I make it big.
I apologize.
Call me by your name. What do you got?
Call Me by Your Name. That needs to win, right?
Whoa, that needs to win.
It was in one of my favorite movies of this year. I bawled. I laughed.
I'm supposed to see it this week, so you're gonna have to really take the lead on this one.
You haven't seen it, you said?
Not yet.
It was beautiful, from the soundtrack to their love story. You know, I'm a sucker for a good soundtrack. Sufjan Stevens was all over it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. He's got a couple new songs in there, and
I
cried through the whole movie, Eric.
Like, how many thumbs? Was it 2 thumbs up or 1 thumb up, or what was it?
It was definitely 2 very large thumbs up.
You know, I have these hammer thumbs, so they're my thumbs up. I got these like flat.
These are Andre the Giant thumbs, just up in the
air. What do you feel about Lady Bird?
Lady Bird, I loved it. Loved me a good coming of age tale, and it was really cute. I liked it a lot.
We were talking about this in the last episode because we talked about Lady Bird. It's weird seeing coming of age stories about like our time.
Yeah.
Like, looking back at it, it kind of weirds me out.
It weirds you out?
Well, yeah, because, I mean, I grew up on Stand By Me, which took place in, like, the 50s or 60s. All the coming-of-age stories took place before I was born, and now they're all taking place in my youth, and it's really weirding me out.
I gotcha. And the Lady Bird had Timothy Chalamet in it, who was in Call Me By Your Name, so...
Yeah, he's in a couple movies this year, which is great.
Yeah, he was in something else. He's our breakout star.
Well, last year he was in Manchester by the Sea as well, so he's really...
Who was he in that?
I thought he was the son in that. Was he not?
No.
Hang on, let's look, because we talked about this on the last episode, and so I'm really going to have to make a public apology if that's the case, so I got to look this up really quickly.
Manchester by the Sea was another, like, tearjerker. Like, I haven't cried that hard in a movie ever.
Oh, it's Lucas Hedges. The poor man's Timothy Chalamet. Lucas Hedges is the poor man, Timothy Chalamet. I've always said that. Man, we were wrong in the last episode.
So much hot water in Hollywood.
I apologize to everyone who listened to the last episode who were very upset about my takes. It's okay though. All right, well, so we've gone through all of them now, and an extensive deep dive on Timothy Chalamet and a small one on Lucas Hedges. Let's talk about Get Out.
Woo!
The best movie of the year, the one that should win the Academy Award.
Oh my gosh, you're going for it.
Yeah. Why do you... So I ask, before we get any further, here's the way this works is I ask you 5 questions about the movie. And the 5 questions are, just so they're in your head, why should this movie win? Why shouldn't this movie win? Who gave the best performance in the movie? What was your favorite scene? And what was your first thought as the credits rolled?
Ooh, okay.
Why should Get Out win Best Picture, Ida?
Wow, okay. I know you already think it should, and it is in my top 3, at least, of the year. So why should it win?
You tell me.
Well, okay. Well, obvious subject matter aside, for now.
Yeah.
This movie is just so smart. It has layers, Eric.
It really does. There's countless BuzzFeed articles about it.
Oh, it's Shrek. It's got layers.
It's Shrek. It's like an onion. Oh, no.
And, like, it's so well made, and it's scary. Like, it's insanely scary. It's terrifying. And not in, like, a jump out at you, you're going to get murdered right now kind of way, but, like, in these subtle little instances throughout the movie and, like, these psychological things that happen to you throughout the movie. It's so scary.
I always liken it to Seven, where it's a very scary thriller that really just slowly, I feel like it just slowly starts putting the pressure on your chest, and then before you know it, you're getting suffocated. It's just so tense.
Before you know it, you're in too deep, and you can't get in the car.
You can't get in the
You
car.
got no keys.
Rose, where are those keys?
Rose, where are the keys?
Oh man. So
Uh,
let me make my stand for this movie.
okay.
So I think that this is the best movie of the year, and I think I keep going back to this, and a lot of people would probably disagree with me, and I understand why. But I think rewatchability is sadly not taken into account when we talk about Best Picture of the Year. And I'm not saying like blockbusters should be up for Best Picture. I understand this is a different thing. But if you're going to make an incredibly insightful and thoughtful movie that you can also go back and revisit and is a good hang, that's something special.
Yeah, rewatchability is high on my list, Eric. I do not let it fall.
Yeah, and I've
by the
seen
wayside.
I've seen this movie 3 times.
Ditto. I've seen it 3 times.
It's incredible. It's so fun in a really weird way. I think it's really easy to talk about how it's a movie for this moment with everything going on.
For sure.
But I think it transcends that, and I think to even really hang your hat on that point isn't fair to the movie because it's really just a great thriller. All the performances are great. I think about the dad in the movie, and I'm going to have to look up his name really quickly. But yeah, Bradley Whitford.
Isn't it like something Whitaker? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Bradley Whitford. He's so good. He's
what else
incredible.
is he in? Why do I? Okay, no, never mind.
He's in a lot. Starting with Billy Madison.
Billy Madison.
But more importantly, West Wing is
I never
his
saw
big
West
role.
Wing.
Oh, it's good. You'd like it a lot, actually.
Never watched it.
You would really like it. So he's so good in it, and just the dumb little stuff where it's like, oh yeah, I would have voted for Obama a 3rd time if I could. It's
Classic.
Just like,
This is a classic thing people say.
Yeah, it's which, by the way, I would have voted for Obama a 3rd time if I could.
Eric, don't do it.
Oh man, but just his performance. I don't want to get too far ahead, but his performance where he's just like, how long's this little thing been going on? It's just, it's so painful. It's so painfully good.
I cringed so hard at that part.
Yeah. Were you worried the first time you went to your in-laws' place that they were going to murder you and put your brain in someone's body?
Yes, I'm a black woman with my white husband.
Yeah.
It's always my first thought.
No, I'm kind of going back to the movie, though, like all joking aside. I really do think it's a really special movie. You look at everything involved in it, from the staff, the writing, the fact that this was a sketch comedy writer who wrote a thriller masterpiece. The direction of it was unbelievable. The look of the film was great. That moment where he goes into the sunken-in place really sticks with you. I think it should win. I think you didn't know what was going to happen all the way up to the end. When they first got pulled over, I thought for sure, this was my take the first time they got pulled over. I leaned over to Maggie and I said, this movie's going to end with him getting shot by the police. Guaranteed.
Oh, no doubt.
And then at the end of the movie, when the sirens show up, and again, if you haven't seen this movie, you shouldn't be listening to this podcast, but spoilers ahead. When the sirens show up, man, I thought for sure he was going to get shot in the head. I was so certain.
There was no doubt in my mind he was going to be in jail, or, the obvious outcome that he is shot by the police.
Yeah, and thankfully that did not happen. Rock coming in and saving the day.
What a great ending.
TSA to save the day. Oh, man. I love it. Okay, go ahead. You had a point.
Yes. My second reason is the subject matter not aside, that this, while it's not like the first movie on race in America, this is just like such a new look, like a look at the modern Black experience in America. And it's like something that a lot of people, like white people and other races, coming into the movie, you don't get to see. And you kind of get that uneasy feeling like everyone else does. And it's really great to have that.
I completely agree as much as I can, not really being able to relate to it. But yeah, I honestly thought that way throughout the whole movie. There were little things that would happen where the main character would say something, where Chris would say something, and you're just like, man, I just never thought about things this way. I've never had to. And not to be like, oh, I had this great realization. This was such a life-changing movie. But I appreciate how honest it was, and I appreciate they did it in a way that wasn't preachy, but it felt very real, kind of like what you're saying. It was a whole new experience. And now...
Do you remember Paul Rooney from Chappelle's Show?
Yeah, Wayne, or no, not Paul. Paul Mooney.
Paul Mooney. Oh my gosh, I'm so terrible.
No, you're good.
And he does Negrodamus, and I'll leave the expletive out, but he says, everybody wants to be Black, but nobody wants to be Black.
Yeah,
and that's just
100%.
Like the definition of this movie, that there are all these, people out here just trying to be a black man, but without ever experiencing it,
You know how some movies start with a script, like a line at the beginning, and it's like black screen, white font, and there's like a quote?
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would have done that, like at the beginning of Get Out, just Paul Mooney. And then at the end, it would have been Dave Chappelle screaming agony going, "It was Mooney!" Like when he's with Wayne Brady.
Negrodamus killed me.
Paul Mooney's so funny. Anyway,
Okay.
I would have loved that. I really would have. Hey, before we dive into the next question about Get Out, I do want to take a quick second and talk about Audible. Listeners of the Chalkboard podcast get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/chalkboard. There's over 180,000 titles to choose from, and they can work on all of your devices, your iPhone, your Android, whatever you got. You can get Audible books on there. They make the drive to work great. I've been listening to Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run, which is his autobiography. And the greatest part about that is he reads it. So it's like you're sitting there hearing your hero, my hero, tell me stories. I can't get enough of it. So if you listen to this podcast and you love Springsteen or you're just wanting a new book, make sure to check out audibletrial.com/chalkboard. All right, so why shouldn't this movie win?
Why shouldn't it win? Okay, like I said, it was in my top 3 of favorite movies this year, but Call Me By Your Name just pulled at my heartstrings too hard. I'm an emotional woman. That's all right. And
wear it proud.
Yes, I'm very proud of how much I express my emotions. But no, Call Me By Your Name just moved me. The ending scene of Call Me By Your Name, I was just sitting right there with Timothée Chalamet, just crying my eyes out with him.
Don't spoil the end of it. I haven't seen it. We can only spoil movies that we're talking about. All right, so you think it shouldn't win purely because Call Me By Your Name should win?
Yes.
That's fair. I can live with that. I really can.
That is the only reason.
No, I'm good with that. Who do you think gave the best performance in Get Out?
Okay, obviously Daniel Kaluuya was great. He played that role so well because he didn't have to act it. Like, I'm sure he's
British,
so
isn't he?
many of those things.
Is he British?
Yes, I believe so. Because he got a lot of flack. Yeah.
He had to act a little bit then.
Yeah, he had that great accent. But I think, oddly enough, one of my favorite performances was the mom.
Catherine Keener.
She scared me to my core.
Man, so I think she's really great in it. I think Allison Williams was really good because she kept making you believe her.
Oh my gosh, that scene with Allison Williams when she's on the phone with Rod and she has like this straight face and she's like, oh my God, what happened? And like she's like projecting her voice so well, and if you were just listening to her, she would sound so scary, but she's cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, she was terrifying. And you really, for whatever reason, until he found the notebook, you wanted to believe her, or like the photo album of all the black boyfriends. You really wanted to believe her that she wasn't in on it, even though like you just knew the whole time. Like you knew.
Eric, for some little part of me, even after he found her little collective box, I still believed her. I was like, she's going to get the keys. Yeah, she's going to get the keys.
Let's talk about this really quickly. Yeah, so that's a really good point because the way it goes down is he finds the box. And then at this point, so he knows she's in on it. You have to know.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
She's talked about how she's never had any black boyfriends before. He's the first one. And then there's this whole box of people that she's dated. And it's just like, oh, shoot. She's in on this whole thing.
She even, she's standing right there looking at him in this tiny little cubby room. So she knows that he knows.
Right. And so it's like, get the keys. We're getting out of here. He's still, because he's in love with her, he gives her the benefit of the doubt and says, get the keys. We're getting out of here. Because he doesn't know what's going to happen. He just knows there's a threat.
15, Chris.
Right. There's like some sort of threat, and he doesn't really get it, but he knows he has to get out of there.
Right.
That's the title of the film, Get Out. And so they go downstairs, and then the whole time Rose is fumbling through her purse. And while she's fumbling through her purse to get the keys, Chris is now dealing with the parents, and it's very clear that they are hostile
and the son.
coming out.
Remember, he's standing like at the base of the stairs with that like lacrosse pole.
Oh my gosh, so scary. And then, he's just like, Rose, get the keys. Please get the keys. And she's just looking through the bag, and he still believes her even though he knows. And he's just holding on to any shred of hope because he knows there's no hope here.
Yeah. I was like, come on.
And then she just goes, you what, these keys? You know I can't give them to you. And
You
you're
know
just
I
like,
can't give these to you.
oh!
Oh.
Oh, you just cringe. I mean, that's the thing. This movie put so much emotion in me on so many different levels, from fear to joy to pain to all these things. Oh, man, I loved it. But we took a long time talking about Allison Williams. I think you're right, though, with Catherine Keener. Every scene she's in, she is hauntingly stoic and really just...
Her voice, gives me nightmares.
Yeah, she's got a weird sort of smoker's voice, but not...
Yeah.
I don't know. It's unbelievable. She puts on a powerhouse of performance. That kind of does lead me into my favorite scene. Mm-hmm. It's the scene where he first goes into the sunken place.
Oh, hell no. Get me out of here.
Yeah, it's so terrifying. And just, the way she's just stirring that spoon, and the way it was directed to where the audio was super high on the audio of the cup, and she's slowly hypnotizing him, and she just taps 3 times and goes, sink.
And then
the audio
bass drops.
Yeah, and it's just like a Skrillex concert. Is that still relevant? Is it Skrillex? It's just like funny. A insert EDM music reference here. But,
and Chris is just falling to EDM music.
Yeah. If only. But yeah, so that moment, though, where he is falling and there is just this weird lapse of sound, everything about that scene was so crazy to me. I loved it. What was your favorite scene?
Oh, my. Okay.
Oh, my.
Oh, my. I think probably when Georgina, the grandma.
Yeah.
Grandma, when she is trying to portray something to Chris, you can tell, whoever is inside of her, whoever, they had a lobotomy on.
She's woke, per se.
Yeah. She's got that blank face and then just her tear coming down her eyes. And I was like, he is about to be in the worst situation ever. And he was just going up to plug his phone in or something.
Yeah.
And right when that happened, I was like, it's going down.
One of the things I'm realizing as we're talking about this, because that is an incredible scene, and you're making me want to change my answer, but there are so many of these scenes. We just went through 3 of them. We talked about the ending with the keys. We talked about the sunken place where that first gets introduced, and then this one that you just talked about with where he's starting to realize there's something off.
No, it's hard to pick one.
But yeah, we haven't even touched on the fact that there was like an auction, or
oh my gosh,
we haven't touched on the ending where the cop shows up, or like any of this stuff. There's weird little things. I mean, that's why I think it's the best directed movie. It really just has all of these memorable moments that are going to stick with you, and not for bad reasons.
Oh my gosh, am I changing my answer?
Change your answer. I don't know. All right, so credits roll and Get Out. Mm-hmm. Where did you see it before we get into that?
Ward Parkway.
Okay, so yeah, I think that's where I saw it too. But no, I saw it at Alamo Drafthouse. But either way, so we both saw it in theater.
Yeah.
So you're in the theater. I'm in a full room.
Ditto.
And everybody is just, it's sort of like when people would go see Rocky Horror Picture Show, how everyone's just all in. That's what my theater was like. What was yours like?
It was the same. And it was a huge theater, like 200 people easy. It was packed. And I'm almost positive that my husband was the only white person in there, which I found hysterical.
That was my Django experience, by the
way. But no, so you remember the last scene? They're in the car, the TSA car, and Rod's like, I told you so. It cuts to a black screen. And then in huge font, in huge letter, it just says, get out. And it's telling you, like, it's almost like the screen is telling you to get out. And me being in this interracial relationship, I had this split second. I looked over to my right at my husband, and he looks at me, and I was like, just like the split second, like, what's going on? Like, what am I doing here?
That's the best thing I've ever heard. Oh my gosh. So I could just see you and Willie doing this. So well. Oh man, that's incredible. That's way different than my first thought. My first thought was, where can I get some food? No. We sort of emphasize, I feel like this whole podcast is just a love letter to Get Out, but when that movie, when the credits start rolling, I just remember feeling 2 things. One, I remember feeling like this is the best movie I've seen in a really long time, and just really enjoying it. I hadn't had a theater experience like that in a while, maybe since like Inception, where I just felt like this is a theater experience that I'll never forget as long as I live. I'm really glad I went and saw it. I was in a new relationship at the time, and I felt like it was fun that I could talk to her about this movie, and it kind of just beginning stages of relationships are always fun.
Ooh,
But
who'd you see it with?
Maggie.
I'm kidding, I know.
Oh, I really thought you were asking that. I was like, I've been with her over a year now. It's kind of, at this point, it's always going to be her. But yeah, and then I honestly thought I would really like to see this again right now. Like, I'd love to just run it back.
Instantly. I instantly wanted to rewatch it.
There's only 2 movies I like to run back to back. One of which is Top Gun. The other one is now Get Out.
Ooh, I'm still staying with Room of the Titans. I'll watch it every day.
Oh, that's a really good one. Why did that not get nominated?
It didn't.
No, of course not. It wasn't that good of a movie. It's just really good for us because we were at the right time. I love that movie.
Yeah.
No shots at it.
We were at the right time growing up watching that movie.
I think the last thing we really need to cover, though, is how the hell did this movie get nominated?
Right?
It is a movie that is a horror movie that is super violent, super gory at the end, and is designed to make people uncomfortable. And yet everybody loves it, including people who are, critics of film. And it gets nominated for Best Picture.
I did not think the Academy was going to see Get Out and be like, Best Picture, guys, because I don't picture the Academy liking it.
Did you just think they would get the screener and be like, nah.
Nice try, guys.
Try to get this one in, did ya? Not today.
Not today.
No, I mean...
I'm shocked, but I'm in the best way.
Again, the pessimist in me wants to be like, well, it's the right moment, but the optimist in me says this is just an incredible movie that deserves...
This is just a great movie.
Yeah, and I hope Jordan Peele nothing but success in this endeavor.
He said it was not based, but kind of got the idea from the Stepford Wives. Not the most recent one, but the original Stepford Wives. And I get that, where they're just like in this society living as trying to be these perfect humans.
Man, I never thought about that. That is super true.
Not the most recent one with Sarah Jessica Parker.
Right, but just the concept of the Stepford Wives of they're just like little society.
So I thought that was cool.
so I thought that was really great. I really enjoyed that part of it. Yeah, I don't know. I just think about this more and more, and I don't see a movie that I want to win more than this one.
Oh, I want this one to win, for sure. This is the one that I put all my hope in, but I just don't see it happening. Well, but that's the pessimist in me.
Yeah, it was the first one I saw, and I think when all these other nominees came out, or when all the nominees came out, and I saw that this one was nominated, I immediately started rooting for it. But then as I start to look at it more objectively, and I saw what I consider an incredible movie in The Phantom Thread, which would not surprise me if it won. That's kind of my second pick. I still just am kind of riding with Get Out because it's the most enjoyable movie I saw. It's the one that's going to stick with me. I think it's really important to hear different stories that we'd never heard before. And even though there was like a definite Stepford Wives vibe, it's a very original concept.
For sure.
I don't know. I'm just all in on it. So
I think like a movie like Phantom Thread, that was made with the Oscars in mind.
Yeah. Paul Thomas Anderson's an incredible director.
Right.
He does really good work. And
it's a great movie.
It is good. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, really good. Did you ever see Nacho Libre? Nothing like talking Oscars and then referencing Nacho Libre. Well, that's just as good a place as any to end, I guess. Just a heads up, we had some audio issues, so we didn't get to say goodbye to Ida. But we did, right before she left, have a really great conversation about Harry Potter that will never see the light of day, which is a real bummer. I might have to have her back on the podcast to talk about it because she loved the movies. I watched them recently and did not love the movies. And we went into a little tangent about that to end the podcast. So that's what you missed, unfortunately. But I really want to thank everyone for listening this week and every week. We really do appreciate it. If you want more of the Chalkboard Podcast, make sure to check out our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and our website, chalkboardpodcast.com. If you're a regular listener to the podcast or you just loved what you heard, make sure to rate, share, and subscribe to this podcast. It really means a lot to us. Our theme song is Killers, written and performed by Salar Ajabnik. You can get his music on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your music. So that's it for us this week. We will see you next week.